just want to let you all know before the video starts, this one is definitely not family friendly. So if you have earphones on you, then I'd strongly suggest wearing them. Hello, gamers and boomers, and welcome back to another Dark Souls related ranking. This time, we aren't just ranking bosses or areas, no. Today, we're going to be ranking something far more important. Today, I'm going to be ranking the sexual attractiveness of fictional characters in a video game. Because what else would I do in my spare time? Nothing, that's the answer to that question. And before you assume anything, it's important to note that this ranking is not subjective. That's right, everything in this video is going to be cold, hard, objective facts. There's no personal bias in this one, boys, which means that if your waifu doesn't appear on this list, then your waifu is trash and you should feel bad. I'm talking to you, Nico. Like my boss ranking, I decided to rank these waifus using 3 main attributes, because contrary to popular belief, a waifu is not subjective. But Fyrestar, everybody has their own personal preference. Wrong! A waifu is a waifu because they are a waifu, not because you personally think that they're a waifu. The attributes that I'll be ranking these waifus off of are as follows. Personality, which is pretty self-explanatory. Is the character's personality interesting? Is it appealing? And is it understandable? Do they have any interests or cute quirks? This is definitely the least important attribute because everybody knows that personality means jack shit, but let's be honest fellas, nobody wants to fuck a literal plank of wood. I mean, Gurman might, but we'll get to that in our next Dark Souls ranking. The second attribute is lovability. This refers to the overall appeal of the waifu. Are they cute? Do they make your heart melt? Do you wish you could marry them and spend the rest of your life with them? If you answered yes to all 3 of these questions, then congratulations. You're either a turbo virgin or you're a weirdo who would rather date a fictional character than a real person. But more importantly, if they do tick all these boxes, then they are lovable, despite the fact that they will literally never love you back. And finally, we have the most important attribute of all, sexuality. Listen fellas, man's gotta eat. A waifu by definition is supposed to be desirable. Don't look that up, it's true, I would never lie to you. Picture a fictional character, alright? This character could have the perfect personality. They could be cute, smart, wonderful in almost every way. But if they can't satisfy me sexually, then get them out of my goddamn sight. That ain't a waifu. A waifu that isn't fuckable? Not in my Dark Souls. And of course, the total score, the score that only the ultimate waifu could possibly achieve. Look guys, it's the funny number. I mean, what else was it going to be, let's be honest. And with all of that out of the way, I think it's finally time for us to get on with the video. It's time for the definitive list of the top 20 waifus in the Souls series. I'm definitely going to horny jail after this one. Just making it into the top 20 with 27 points is the Chaos Witch Quelaag herself. I honestly don't see the appeal here. I mean, yeah, she does appear literally naked, but a great set of tits can only get you so far when you're literally half spider. And I don't mean in the sexy sense like Elise from League of Legends. No, this bitch is literally half demonic spider. So while the top half is an absolute yes, the bottom half is a way the fuck no, stay the hell away from me and my son type of deal. There isn't much lovability there either because it's kinda hard to love somebody who's 50% grotesque 8-legged demon. Like I said in my boss ranking video, bitch got 8 legs, I'm good thanks. Next up is Andre from Dark Souls 1 and 3. I mean, come on, look at those abs. Listen to him speak.
Well met. 'Tis good to see ye in good health. What needs smithing this day?
See? There's so much sexual tension there. You can hear it, right? Yeah, you can hear it. But, if you were to be in a relationship with Andre, it would purely be a physical relationship. That's the problem with Andre. He's so dedicated to his job as a blacksmith that after sex, he'll likely go back to work and you won't see him for the rest of the day. That's not to say that there isn't any appeal aside from his body. I'm sure that a lot of people might be attracted to Andre's dedication to work. He is also very loyal and, as he says himself, willing to serve. I think my main concern is that he hammers that anvil so much that when it comes to sex, he might just start hitting me with that hammer. I could also see him as an abusive kind of guy if he were to get drunk, so while there is no definite proof, I would probably not take my chances and stay away from any long-lasting relationship. Anastasia is certainly an interesting one. There's a lot of things about her that could either be a good thing or a bad thing. For example, at the start of the game, she can't talk, but later on, she regains her ability to speak. Win or loss? I asked you guys on YouTube to see your answer, and Jesus Christ, guys, at least make it a little less one-sided. I mean, it's not that I disagree or anything, I can see a lot of appeal in a woman who's mute, but at the same time, how the fuck would I get to know her? That's a trick question. You don't need to know shit about your girlfriend. That's something that a simp would want, and I for sure am not a simp. Editor, I can literally feel you showing that video up on screen. Please, please stop. Please. The plain doll from Bloodborne is a sweet, pure, lovable girl who definitely has a lot of appeal, but at the same time, she can literally be made out of fucking wood. It's very realistic for sure, and considering she's modeled after Lady Maria, she definitely is nice to look at, but when it comes to sex, you're gonna get fucking splinters, man. Is that what you want? Splinters in your cock? Now, you're right, it's not exactly explicit about what the doll is made out of, but at the end of the day, she's still a doll. Fellas, I want you all to imagine something for a minute. Imagine stacking a ton of dinner plates, like 10 or so, and then imagine trying to stick your dick through the gap in those plates. That's what it would be like, splinters or not. Speaking of being a plank of wood, it's not just her body that's a literal plank of wood, but her personality is too. I mean, she's an animated doll after all. Despite all this, she definitely has some appeal to her. She's incredibly sweet and incredibly loyal, and even though you can't fuck her without inadvertently ripping your dick off, she's still very attractive to look at, and with that in mind, think about what that says about the doll's inspiration. I mean, let's be honest, fellas. Man's gonna eat, you know what I'm saying? I want you all to think back on that scene. Remember your first ever Dark Souls 1 playthrough. You've just beaten Ornstein and Smo. It was a difficult, long, and drawn-out fight that you likely died to numerous times. And after all of your struggles, after all of your hardships, you walk through that door and are presented with this beautiful scene. Guinevere is a beauty for sure. I mean, that is the whole point. She is literally the goddess of fertility and bounty. As the goddess of fertility, it goes without saying that Guinevere would be equipped with two enormous and wonderful personalities that are definitely not obvious enough. Like, come on From Software, you may as well have a fucking spotlight on them. So yeah, Guinevere gets a solid 30 out of 30 points for sexual attractiveness. I would actually be unironically trolling if I didn't give her perfect points for that. Unfortunately, however, sexuality isn't enough to carry you into the top 10. Listen guys, she's hot for sure. But she's also a hoe. Believe me, Guinevere will leave you at the drop of a hat, and it wouldn't even be for a better looking man. Like, if she's willing to fuck a scaleless tentacled hentai dragon, and a mad king who coincidentally also turns into a scaleless dragon, I'm sensing a bit of a pattern here. But if she's willing to fuck them, she's willing to fuck anyone. But nevertheless, amazing chest ahead, 38 points. Alsana is actually a really interesting one, because when I put her on the list, I didn't really think much of her. But having a closer look, I can definitely see a lot of appeal in this daughter of Manus. For starters, I am a sucker for a girl with black hair, so most of the appeal for Alsana, however, comes from her personality and her lovability. Alsana is quite possibly one of the most loyal characters in Dark Souls. Her husband literally left her to go and fight a never-ending war, and she still remains loyal to him. Alsana is one of the many daughters of Manus. However, unlike Nashandra, Ilana, and Nadalia, she chooses not to be defined by that. Alsana fights back against her dark nature for the sake of her king. Not only does this show how powerful her love is for her man, but there is also a lot of appeal in a woman who is lost and in need of love and support. Unfortunately, however, Alsana is clearly already taken, so she immediately loses all her sexual appeal. This is so sad. Dude, Yorm's thick as fuck, that's all I'm saying. Thick booty, thick cock, and he literally has the ability to step on you. Yorm is a hottie. On top of this, he's a very lonely guy who's clearly lost his way. So if you're the kind of person who sees a lot in a man in need of fixing up, then he's perfect. Although, he may be a little too lost because he does end up killing his dearest friend Sigurd. Also, he's like 80 feet tall, so how thick is too thick? That's all I'm gonna say. Are you a fan of tsunderes? Do you like a girl who plays hard to get? Then my girl Sister Fried is the girl for you. She plays so hard to get in fact, that she practically tells you to fuck off and never come back. Granted, it is pretty hard to love somebody who clearly doesn't love you back. If there is any chemistry between you and her, then it's purely sexual, and it's pretty kinky at that. I mean, she dresses as a nun after all. Speaking of clothing, you know what Sister Fried isn't wearing? Shoes. Look at those toes, man. Talk about kinky. This woman is a walking foot fetish. Holy shit. Solaire is arguably the most loved character in gaming history, so to not give him perfect points for lovability would be an insult. Solaire is a true friend. He is a beaming icon of happiness and jolly cooperation within the Dark Souls community, and he even has his own covenant dedicated to helping out people in need. What a great guy! Solaire is always there for you when you need him. Except for when he isn't. Solaire, come back. Unfortunately, Solaire ultimately breaks all of our hearts in the end, because he cares more for his quest to find his son than he does for ours. Overcome by an obsession, Solaire loses his mind and attacks us, and being the best friend we can possibly be in that situation, we have to end his suffering. Oh my god, that got super fucking emotional. Solaire is epic, 46 points out of 69. Coming in at number 11, we have Kiran with 47 points. I'm honestly surprised that Kiran made it so close to the top 10. She's a very minor character who only appears in one location, and on top of that, she doesn't have that much dialogue or lore, so there isn't much to base her character off of. But looking closely, I suppose it does make a bit of sense. While she isn't a major character in the story, there are a few notable things about her that are appealing. I feel like I may have subconsciously bumped her pretty high up on the list because I personally think the idea of a kick-ass female assassin is pretty attractive. She's also fiercely loyal to those she cares about, like Artorias for example, who is theorized to be her lover, but of course, Artorias is long out of the picture now, isn't he? Wink wink. Don't say wink wink, that's not... That's not to say that she's perfect though. While her voice can be quite soothing a lot of the time, there are some lines that sound so fucking nasal. You know when you talk while holding your nose? Like, I know that's a really weird nitpick to make, but a girl's voice is important. What's probably a more important negative to focus on though, is the fact that Kiran is a literal assassin. So her career choice is questionable at best. Like, the other three Knights of Gwyn all fought for admirable things, like fighting dragons or battling the dark, but Kiran, literally just a straight up assassin. But, that being said, I can respect a nice girl who's also a bit of a baddie. You know what I'm saying? God damn it, man. How horny were you when you wrote that script? Fuck! Anyway, moving on to the top 10, guys. Just scraping her way into the top 10 is Lucatilla Mira from Dark Souls 2. This is a pretty difficult one for me to rank, because I personally don't think of Lucatilla as a waifu. For me, she was much more of a trusted knight who fought alongside me from time to time. However, since this list is objective and nothing else, I have ranked Lucatilla thinking of her as a waifu. There are a lot of positives to Lucatilla. She's incredibly loyal and she fights alongside you as a fellow warrior, so you have a lot in common. Her personality is really interesting, and her story is one of the most intriguing ones out of any character in Dark Souls. On top of all of that, she also has a willingness to get undressed for you, so you do the math. Sure, she's not the prettiest girl out there, and she is in the process of turning into a mindless zombie with no memory of who she once was, but does any of that actually matter when she has such a deep and buttery voice? Personally, not my type, but I can respect her ranking at number 10. Solid waifu material. Besides the whole hollowing thing, you might want to get that sorted out before dating her, just saying. This one's not difficult for me to rank, but it sure is upsetting. Because I've spent the last 4 years of my life trying to convince people that I'm not a furry. I'm not, okay? Priscilla is a good waifu. If you thought Freed's toes were epic, then just wait until you see Priscilla's. They're like twice the size, and the benefit is she can physically step on you because she's 15 feet tall. Priscilla is half dragon, half god, which is a bit weird, I'm not gonna lie. She's literally a furry, so she does lose a lot of points for sexual attractiveness, but I can see the appeal regardless. Her tail is super fluffy, and I'm sure hugging it would be a lot of fun. But when I say something like that, it sounds like I'm describing a dog, not a crossbreed dragon waifu. Actually, why is she fluffy? Miyazaki, were you taking crack again? Dragons don't have fucking fur. What? Like, explain! Explain! God damn it! Appearance aside though, Priscilla is also super sweet, and she cares a lot for the well-being of the citizens in the painted world. She does have a lot of appeal, but come on guys, why is she the most sexualized character in the whole franchise? It's super fucking weird. Why do all the talented fan art drawers have to be furries, man? Why? Making their way into the 8th spot is Henri Vestora with 51 points. Say what you want, but Henri is deserving of this spot. They are the only character in the Souls games that you can actually physically marry. Granted, she's unconscious the whole time, and you do marry her by stabbing her through the chest in this weird, bizarre ritual thing, but hey, let's not be too hasty to judge. Maybe that's just how you get married in the Dark Souls universe, right? Maybe? Probably the most important thing to point out is the fact that Henri is also the only Souls character who changes their sex to be the opposite as you. A bit homophobic, I won't lie, like, what's Miyazaki trying to say here? You can't marry someone the same sex as you? But there's still no denying that this feature is a thing. So for any heterosexual players, Henri is the perfect soulmate. Well, unless you're one of those guys who make a female character for some reason, I would never do that. What are you talking about? Hey, editor, stop showing that, please. Of course, Henri isn't perfect. They do seem to have a bit of the Big Depression, and no matter how much you try to help them, they won't stop worrying about some other dude. I don't know, man, but those are some pretty big turnoffs. And even when you do marry her, she just ends up becoming this mindless husk of a person. And yes, I know I said earlier that there's a lot of appeal in a woman who can't speak, but I don't really want to fuck a mindless corpse, so. Coming in at number 7 is, it's Moss Waifu.
Oh, hello, dearie. You left me high and dry for a while there. I thought maybe you'd forgotten about me. Are you back for more of my moss, then?
I mean, yeah. Need I say any more? Listen up, losers. Onion Man is an absolute chad, okay? He is the jolliest jolly fellow you will ever meet. And just so you know, I'm talking about Sigurd, not that monkey-brained Sigmar guy. Stupid idiot sat on the edge of a cliff. He deserves to get kicked off. Sigurd would make the perfect wife. He can cook for you, he likes to get drunk with you, he power naps like an absolute chad, and he likes dressing up in an onion costume. These are the kinds of things that I like in a waifu. And have you seen that moustache? Actual chad. He's also hella thick, so if you don't think that Sigurd isn't a great waifu, then you're a fucking liar. If you cried at Sigurd's death, then you agree with me. And if you didn't cry, then get the fuck out, we're not friends anymore. I'm getting teary-eyed over here, damn it. You won't stop fucking cutting those onions. Carla is a character that I expected to appear much lower on this list, but regardless, it comes at no surprise that she would be so high up. She's humble, loving, caring, sweet, incredibly loyal, and on top of all of that, she's also rather mysterious. She's relatively good looking, which as we've established is important, and her outfit is also cute as fuck. The teacher/pupil relationship is a bit weird though, and maybe a little too kinky for my liking, but I can see why people might be into that, so I didn't deduct many points for that. The Firekeeper from Dark Souls 3 is an absolute cutie, no doubt about it. Just look at that gorgeous smile. She's hands down one of the most beautiful women in the franchise. I'm not typically a guy who's crazy about blonde girls, but there are definitely times when I like to make an exception, and this is one of them. Of course, her personality is a bit lacking, to the point where serving you is all that defines her, and she doesn't even really have a name. She also has no eyes, although I assume she can still see? Either way, I don't particularly fancy looking at a girl who has her eyes gouged out, but her mask is actually pretty epic looking, and I think it adds to the appeal in some bizarre way, so I don't know. The Firekeeper is hands down my waifu, but as I said, this is objective, so we have to ignore all personal bias, even if... Why am I doing this still? Why am I... Oh, 4 more to go, 4 more to go. Calm down, calm down. The Emerald Herald is without question a top tier Souls waifu. For starters, she actually is an interesting character with a personality, unlike literally every other Firekeeper character in the franchise. Charlotte is so fucking adorable. Have you seen how she sits and swings her legs? It's so cute! And not only is she adorable, but she's also unironically packing. Interesting, cute, lovable, and smoking hot, there is no denying that the Emerald Herald is deserving of being so high up on this list. Did I just rank a character without making a joke? Yikes. What has become of me? So, Lady Maria, thoughts?
Ooh, I'm a big fan.
But if you're looking for a girl who has it all, there is nobody who can top Lady Maria. Lady Maria is a sexy femdom who's really into taking the initiative and dominating you into the ground. Well, sometimes. There are two possible outcomes when it comes to Maria. She either dominates the fuck out of you, or the boss fight is basically a wife beater simulator. Either way, she's a perfect waifu in almost every way. Unfortunately, she's just short of reaching the top spot due to a few minor reasons. YouTuber ZC Loki brought these issues to my attention in one of his latest videos. Before I steal his joke, I suggest you all go and check him out. He's a great channel trying to do the exact same thing that I'm trying to do. So if you like this video, then consider checking his Bloodborne video out as well. Maria is perfect in almost every way except for two reasons. One, she's really into blood play, which personally I don't mind, but some people might. And two, the living failures live right outside her room, and listen here fellas, it's going to be hella uncomfortable knowing that those scrotum heads are going to be able to hear you getting pegged by their roommate at all times of the day. That being said, if you're like me and you have no problem with either of those issues, then Lady Maria can be number one in your hearts. And finally, the winner for the number one waifu in the entire Dark Souls franchise is Patches! What? You think I'm joking? Listen here, you uncultured fool among fools. Patches is an absolute riot. He's always trying to get you with the most elaborate of pranks. The man's a natural trickster. A comedian, I tell you. A waifu has got to have a great personality, and there is no better personality than a funny one. Dude literally follows you to the end of the world just to prank you, man. He loses all sense of who he is, nearly turning into a mindless zombie, but no! The moment his memory recovers, he wastes no time. The funny never stops. Never. As for lovability, what's not to love about Patches? He is such a cutie. He is the most trustworthy guy out there. The word trustworthy is literally in his name. Not to mention, he's literally the hottest waifu on this list. Look at that forehead, and take a look at that schnauzer, dude! Patches is objectively the ultimate waifu, and I'm not even gay! This dude is just so epic. For this is the will of God, your sanctification, that you abstain from sexual immorality, that each one of you know how to control his own body in holiness and honor, not in the passion of lust like the Gentiles who do not know God. And if thou right hand causes thou to sin, cut it off and throw it away, for it is better that you lose one of your members than that your whole body go into hell. I'm not going to you horny bastards, you're all going to horny jail. I mean, surely wet nurse, yeah? Surely. Would you smash?
Get my dick cut to pieces.
Fuck. Sounds like an ideal night out. What do you mean?